Hey everybody, it's Marty the JavaScript Party. I'm a buddy Rhett, and I have a nut for her. So let's get that out of the way. There you go, buddy. Buddy. All right. So yesterday was a bit of a late night for me because I was trying to deploy this voice Angular voice analyzer to ilikeemail.com/voice. So if you go to ilikeemail.com, let's see, you just get like this little page, and then what what's it called? ChatGPT uh, made this page for me. I just asked it to make me a nice little page, and it did. And then I got this link, and it goes here. And the links weren't quite working right, and it wasn't loading the data right. There's all kinds of issues, and it is kind of like one of those things that always happens. Like whenever you decide you're going to deploy that software for the first time, I've every single time I always have issues with routing and loading. Um, and it's the kind of thing that you don't really put to like your mind to it because um, the it just happens so rarely, right? Like you only do your very first deployment once, and for me, it's like maybe once every 2 or 3 years. I'll do something like that. But I had to make a bunch of changes. Had to, so my stuff is deployed over to DreamHost. Let me see, DreamHost.com. I think I've been a customer of theirs in some way, fashion, sort since 1996 or 1997. Um, the company has, I don't know if it's changed hands, but it's definitely changed a lot over time. Um, yeah, I don't even think they, but it's very, very good. They do a good job. I've been very, very happy with them for pretty close to 30 years. So, you know, they've kept up. They've definitely kept up. They've also uh, kept sort of the standard, or like they've kept like it still works like an old um, website, like app hosting company, but it can work like a new one too. They have like different things for like that's more along the lines of cloud and Amazon, which I don't use at all. I just use their standard hosting, which has been really good for me. But one thing I did have to make, oh, one thing I did have to make was I did have to make some changes to the Apache configurations. I believe they're the Apache configurations, and they do provide you with an HTTP access ability. Like if you put one of these files in any given directory, then any file gets sort of processed differently. And this application kind of got built, and I built it kind of with a dependency that I wasn't aware of that the that it would be on the root, and then on top of that, that all the different endpoints would also point back to the um, root. And so both of those things had to be fixed. It took some server-side changes, and it took some local JavaScript changes or TypeScript changes. But this takes, if you put this in, I put this in my directory, um, the voice directory, and it takes all, I believe what it does is it somehow takes all calls to every endpoint and feeds them back to the index.html page, which is what I needed. It wouldn't work until I did that. Basically, the routing wouldn't work. Um, then I also did create the little index page that ChatGPT put together for me. Um, and then I had to make a change to my TypeScript because these had slashes in them before. Um, yeah, I guess it's easier to look at it this way. And I guess we'll start at the top. So I'm not going to show package.lock.json because package dash lock. I've never seen that to be useful, but I did have to create a new build um, thing. I don't even know what the serve dist is. I don't remember doing that. But I do have this build where I have it build. Oh, that's right. That's what I did yesterday so that we could actually test the distribution. And I don't even know if that would work now because yeah, I think it would. Yeah, I think that would work. But this build, I had to create a new build that builds with a href with this instead of trying to get all its information from the root. It gets from this directory. So that's why this build exists now. And that's how I built out this application that I FTP up. We went over we went over this one. I did have to make a change. I don't know if this router change was actually needed, but I did inject router. I did also put a console log, so I have a console log out there. I'm just going to remove it from the source code, but I don't care if it's wrong out there. I mean, if it's putting out a console log. Um, and I changed this navigation to instead of using location service, it uses the router service. And you know what? I'm going to leave that because I might end up needing that. I don't need the console log, but I might end up needing one of these for the GitHub version. And that. So now in the routes, I got rid of all the leading slashes. So there's a couple leading slashes that got removed because I don't know, that's what we need. I don't know exactly why. And then in my navigation, I got rid of all the slashes too. And that was because um, slash actually tells it to go to the root. And I didn't want it to go to the root. I wanted to go relative. So we got rid of that. And same deal here. We got rid of all the leading slashes. And after that, it all started working. So that was that, and that is the um, distribution. So I almost feel like I should, I don't know if I should make this its own like DreamHost branch. Oh man. But I just lost my external monitor for some reason, decided to not show itself anymore. I hate to undo it because I'll have to fix everything. Like if I pull this out and put it back in, it'll probably work. But there we go. Oh, so whatever the problem is seems to be back here, actually. I always assumed it was something to do with my fitting down there, but um, so yeah, so I'm kind of going back and forth on whether I should make this into its own branch. I do kind of have a mix of I like yeah, of DreamHost specific things and a mix of my stuff. I think I'm just going to go with this and see what happens. And if I have to sort of branch out to two different branches, one for like DreamHost and one for GitHub, I will. But for now, I'm just going to assume that git add dot and then git commit -m, and then what it does is it tweaks for DreamHost deployment. And that's what that is. And I don't know if that's the best way to do that, but I think it'll be a fine. Let's go ahead and push that. All right, so now we have this project over at Git. I don't know if I think I can just go to Git. I think the Git people are highly sensitive to not showing specific stuff about your like that you wouldn't want unless you actually log in that you wouldn't want do that. You see, I have like almost 60 repository. I have like 10 stars, but I think almost every one of them is me starring something so I could find it easier. Um, then Angular Speech Web Analyzer. So this is the one. See, so I'll start this now just so that I don't know, I think it's a little easier to find them. Um, and then I have this. I probably should update the README because we do not have end-to-end tests. I think we don't have unit tests. I think that's fine. That's accurate. That is accurate. Actually, that's really nice to be able to see what that was built, generated in. Okay, so I'm going to come back here. I'm actually going to fix my README to put a link to so that's this file right here. Okay, so we don't have end-to-end tests. I wish we did. That would be nice. And then we aren't doing in unit tests. We build works, and probably that's how you want to do a local builds. Code scaffolding, development server, that's true. And then I think I want to just say deploy to. And then you can try this application out at I think we don't need the API there. I think it'll push you to API. Yeah, I guess we should just I think we should just go like this. Oh, and that was another point, is this will not work unless it's HTTPS. That's something I learned last night too. So I had to put a certificate on this. Fortunately, it's free now. It used to cost money to get that, but I guess I don't want a period. I guess if I'm not going to have a period, I should make that a lowercase. And then and we'll definitely will add another one when I get the GitHub version working. So git add dot. Guess we should at least take a look at what the differences are, make sure there's nothing really bizarre. Sometimes, some kind of bizarre thing will just do that. So git commit -m, and then readme tweaks. We'll probably end up doing another one of these, git push, another readme tweak once we get this working. Okay, so I don't think there's anything like super obvious when we come here about like how to make um, how to make this sort of available. I believe there's a way you can make it to where you can serve it at GitHub specifically, like in a repository without. I think that might be it. Kind of seems like maybe that might be. This is different than before. I think the way I did it before was you kind of have to build like create a specific branch or something, and then it gens it. I don't know. It kind of seems like this is I can maybe push my dist out there. And now that's the thing is I wonder if my application will still work. It probably will. Um, it'll probably still work even as a static. Um, so I don't feel like there's any information about this, right? This is like I'm afraid to hit, sometimes I'm afraid to hit the button because I'm afraid I'll do something. So push branch master. Okay, yeah, I don't know. I don't think this is what I want. All right. Let's go to ChatGPT and ask it. See if it knows how to do this. Application that I have built. I guess I should say an Angular that I have built into a dist folder file. Yeah, folder. I also have the source code in GitHub. Is there a way for me to serve the dist code from GitHub? Yes, the dist working app. And I'll just put this in parentheses, working application. And I guess I should put a question mark. Building static files generated by, here's a step-by-step, build your Angular app, which I've done that. Oh, okay, so it says you should do the repo name. Ensure the routing works. Okay. So install the Angular Git CLI. Lawyer dist. Option 2. Okay, manual deploy. Okay, so I kind of would rather do a manual deploy. Git checkout orphan GH. I wonder what -- orphan is. From dist into the root, commit and push. Git checkout -- orphan GH pages. So delete all files except for the okay, so my contents folder. So my dist folder is currently in the git ignore. Is currently listed. However, since Git needs to build files to serve your working app, there are a few good ways to go around depending on what you want. Keep the disks ignored. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping to do. I don't know. Deployment that pushes, but use a deployment command that pushes the dist folder to a special Git pages branch. Your main branch stays clean only for source deployment slide lives. Install Git CLI pages. Why does it always want me to do global installs? Temporarily commit the dist. Now, give you the exact commands. Okay, so this is my okay, so let's tell it what my repo is and see if it can give me a little bit better advice or maybe more understandable. The name of my repo. All right, so here's exactly how to do it without committing the Git directory in your main branch. Make sure your project builds correctly. In your Angular project root run ng build. Okay, so what I want to do is, this is my GitHub build command. So basically, I'm going to just go to my package. I'm going to do my old rule of just the right package. Yeah, close the others. And we are going to do G build for GitHub. GH build? Probably GH build. GH build, ng build, and then, yeah, that's right. So, okay, so we have our build and we want to build it. That tells Angular that you will build an app will be served at Marty the Poet. Okay. So we're going to run that. And so let's look, let's see what we got going here, up in here. So right now we have a dist and we have browser. And then there's just one thing. And I have no idea what this pre-rendered routes.json is. Interesting. Oh, okay, but we have voice API analyzer. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to expect. See, this is an I like email folder that I created that just basically has my HT access because I never remember those, what that is, and my index.htm. I really should. You know what? I'm going to create a new folder and I'm going to call this voice because that's kind of how it is at the website. It's in this voice folder. And then I'm going to move the HT access in there because that's where it goes. It's inside. Move. So basically at the top, I have my index.html. That's what we have here. And then inside of a voice folder, there is no API folder. But inside of a voice folder, we have this HT access. And I think that makes a lot of sense to keep it that way. I know I just got distracted, but I kind of like needed to do that. Okay, so we want to make sure that this builds properly. And see this, since I have it in my packages folder file, since I have it in here, it will run in the correct context. Pum run gh build. I have done this before, but only once or maybe twice, and I don't remember it being particularly hard. I don't know. I don't want to install this globally. So it's, see, it gets to know you, right? So apparently there's a CLI tool that will do a bunch of stuff that we don't know what it does, but somehow it gets it into my, oh, this will create a branch and push it. Okay. Wow. That's pretty cool. It'll create a brand new branch for me called GH pages and it'll push only the contents of the dist branch and leaves my git ignore on the main branch untouched. And then, man, so who knows if all that's going to work? That's a lot of steps that this little guy does. Hopefully we don't have to do any future deployments because I'll never remember all this if we have to do a future deployment. Although this is one of the very last videos, so I guess I will have this video to, it'll be pretty easy to find this video to watch. All right, so we need to install this. We went a lot of steps. Okay, one-time setup, ng build, dist, if you haven't already, version this will install this locally for this version. PM. I kind of want to do a commit at this point. Let's see what our changes are. So in our packages, we added our one build. That's our only change. And then we moved the HTTP access. Commit -m changes for deployments. Did I actually? I don't think I staged it. Git add. So now I've staged it. So now I'm good. Now I'm going to push that. Now we want to install this guy here. So this is going to install this tool that I guess was designed by Angular that is for specifically for GitHub pages. And I don't know what the dash version does. Guess I could ask, what does dash version do? Doesn't deploy, actually, it simply runs the tool and it asks it to print its version number. Oh, okay, so it just tells us that it did version 2.03. Oh, and I guess it stopped and asked me if it's okay to deploy. I probably should commit the, yeah, I should commit this because this is going to update my package file. Although it's not showing any changes right now. But I'm guessing this file is going to get some new stuff in here, or possibly in here. It's taking a while though. In flight, this module is not supported and leaks memory. Do not use it. Check out prior to V9. Glob version prior to V9 no longer supported. So I got some warnings of deprecations. Like I said, hopefully this is literally one of the very last things I ever do for this application. So it being deprecated, one of the dependency files. So we didn't even get any new files. That's what's weird. Like our package didn't even update. Everything is identical to before. So that's very strange. I would have thought, at the very least, thought we would have had a new entry in one of these things. Oh, okay. So okay. So I guess this doesn't. Should I add Angular CLI GH pages as a dev dependency to this project? So yeah, apparently that just ran it but didn't add it. Okay, I don't want to install it globally. Okay, so this is actually what I wanted to do, not that other thing. And this would have caused something to show up in here. So it just installed it on my machine. I guess, I don't even know, as a local dependency, but not officially. Like I said, I don't really know specifically what that just did. But now I'm wondering, oh, okay, so this would do this for anybody. Like, so if you pulled this down, it would create a new GH and push the it out for you. So I think this helps me in the future. I don't know if it might be confusing. And add. Okay, I don't want to clean. See, I feel like, well, Angular Web Speech. So I'm curious with that. So if someone clones this project, does it do all of these things for their repo? So I'm curious, like, so if somebody were to clone this to their their GitHub repo, and then they run these build scripts, which I think we already have this one, then does it like do all this stuff for them? I think it does. I don't know if there's some weird, yeah, exactly, but with some clarification, let me walk you through what happens. Not for you, yeah. Dependency, npm does three things. So this would pull all the stuff down for them, and then if they run this, it will build it out. Deploy to the repo, or they fork to deploy to GitHub. No, okay. So we want to add a deploy script to our packages. I've never done this before, so I don't have any experience with what negative side effects may come from this little stunt I'm pulling right now. But here we go. All right. All right. Okay, so I'm a little bit like squirrely, I went in a whole bunch of different directions, so I probably need to okay, so I need to just sort of get a reset, and so I'll ask ChatGPT. Okay, so I added my new deploy script. What do I do? What do I do from here? Make sure your dependencies are installed. And then npm test your build locally. Okay, so this is my gh build. So npm run gh build. Angular. So I guess I'll have a different folder in there. I think the build though does by default delete um, previous installs. So we have voice API. Okay, so actually, I don't know if it's going to delete this voice API analyzer and replace it with Angular Web Speech Analyzer. Okay, wait. Um, so it put it in voice API analyzer, not web speech. Okay, so it put the dist files in voice API analyzer directory. So that's when you run. is probably pointing to that, and that's why there's a mismatch. Okay, so is it a problem? I don't know. Um, okay, so wait, okay, a problem? Put the directory in voice API analyzer. Not at all. It's not a problem. Doesn't care. Okay. Okay. So now okay, so um okay. Okay. So now I can just run the deploy script. Run. So I'll just tell it. It won't know. Okay, so I need to tell it. So this is so I have this file. So put put this in my packages folder. Packages package.json. Okay. Oh, so okay, wait. I have not to run deploy script yet. Deploy script. Do I need to tweak it? Okay. Okay, so I need to make a thing because it's looking in the wrong place. It's looking in Angular. Look like this. Okay. I'm confused. Isn't this is exactly what it looks like, right? Angular Web Speech Analyzer. What is the difference? Oh, okay. I need to add this thing at the end. Ah, okay. There we go. That's what I need to change. I had a feeling there was some slight issue with the way this was set up. So this is set up to look in a directory that's named different, and that's because the name of my project is different than the name of my. So at the very, very first one, probably the very first video I ever did in this application, I did it, and I created an npm project and I named it different than the name of the repo. This is probably literally the first time I've ever heard that it might make sense to name your project the same as the name of your repo. Um, but yeah, because if we come up here to the project name, it's Voice API Analyzer, but the name of the repo is Angular Speech, Web Speech Analyzer, which then sort of makes a slight mismatch there. But I don't think it's the kind of it's not something I would consider broken. Just okay, okay. Now it says run npm run employee, and then I don't know what this Arduino thing is. It's so weird. It says go to HTTPS, Angular Web, speech and, but I think it won't be there because I have to turn something on or some kind of setting at GitHub. I think that's what it said earlier. So pm run deploy. And now it's using my new Angular CLI GH pages. I would say there's probably about a 75% chance that this will work. Looks like it's doing its thing though. Have a nice day. Successfully published via. All right, so now we'll just do this, but I don't think that's going to work because I think there was something we needed to do. 404. Okay. So I thought that there was a setting in GitHub that I had to do the app to be served. Okay, open settings, branch configure, and then folder root and click save. Wait a minute. Okay, so it says go over here, which I think I was there, but let's just go through process, then click settings, usually on the left sidebar. I don't see settings. So here's settings. Okay, so it was in the right sidebar. Probably depends on how big you have your page. And probably like sometimes, depending on how wide the page is, it probably ends up in different spots. Under source, select GH pages. I don't see source. Let's just do a control F for source. So I see one, that's the only hit. Let me try to change the size of this thing and see if the layout is different. Okay, did I miss a step? I must have missed a step. Go there, open settings, usually on the left side. Configure the source, under source select, and hit save. Okay, maybe there was a different settings. Let's hit back. So it was saying over here in the left branch it was expecting to find. I definitely don't see settings. And then we did find a settings here. Oh, is this a different? This is a different. No, that's the same settings. Okay, I did not see a settings, but I do see one in the tabs. Okay, I did not see settings, right side, on the left pane, left sidebar. But I do see a tab called Settings. Your repo, click Setting tabs, open the top menu next to Insights. Oh, okay, yeah, that's that. Scroll down the page uh, to Pages. Scroll down to Pages. So it looks like there's something called, oh, there it is, Pages. Or use Settings Pages directly if it's visible. Source, select the source branch. Oh, there we go. I think that. All right, so GHP, your site is live. Okay, that's weird. Four minutes ago, it says it was deployed. Visit site. Okay. So index file. So it's saying that, so let's look at our network tab and see if there's anything obvious. It could be that it's probably that I did not, we need to change it to not look at the, oh, deployed from branch. So that is right. It's looking at GitHub, the GH pages. Okay, let's go look at that branch. See what's going on over there. Okay, so it seems like, okay, so it looks like it's not looking, maybe it's not looking down in here in browser. Okay, so let's go back to here. This is fun. Wait a minute. Okay, so I got there. Okay, so it says it is looking, it's using the GH pages branch, but the URL is showing a 404. It seems like it is. Now the branch shows the index page in a folder called browser. And maybe I missed a step. Yeah, see, it's looking in the root, and but not at the root. You selected settings, index, and other assets. We found, and it can't be found. For how to fix it. Option 1: deploy to the root of the branch. Recommended: delete GH pages branch or override it cleanly. Rerun the deploy script, and make sure you point the dist folder for your current repo. So that sucks. Option 2: move files manually. Go to the GH pages branch in GitHub and move everything inside of browsers to the root and commit the change. So the kind of thing that kind of stinks about this is that means that I would have to always remember to do that in the future if I need to do a deployment. Okay, so if I do option 2 seems easier. but it seems like I will have to remember to move all of the. And I guess that's fine, actually, now that I think about it. So basically, what has to happen, what I would have to actually, well, yeah, all of the files after every build. Yeah, the main downside is every time you run and deploy, that's why option one is better. Okay, so basically option one is just to delete the whole darn. Okay, branch or overriding it. Okay, so and then tweak my branch, tweak my, well, I don't know, delete the current GH and or override it. Make sure your deploy scripts points to the correct dist folder. I guess I can't see why this would fix the issue with it being in the browser. I can't see why this would fix the issue with the distribution files being in the browser folder. That's sort of exactly why it just ends up, and why a simple deploy script fix might not fully address it. Why you're seeing the browser folder. Yeah, okay, so yeah, I get that. Angular has a concept of projects and targets in Angular JSON. Depending on how your workspace is structured, if you ran ng build without specifying the project outputs, you can specify your project specifically. Now, is there any way then, yeah, how to fix it reliably? Oh, okay, so I can always have it only build out to here. So I could tweak my project's JSON and it would always build everything to here. I wouldn't build it anyplace else. And then that would solve the problem. Now, is there a way, I wonder, to configure GitHub to serve out of the serve out of the browser folder? Some important limitations let me explain. When you go to settings pages, you can choose a branch and then a folder. Currently, GitHub cannot select an arbitrary folder like browser inside the branch. Okay, so all right. So it looks like what we want to do, I think what we probably want to do is this. Change this output path to not go into the browser, and then uh, build it that way, and then delete the GitHub, the GH folder, and then um, um, or this GH pages branch, just delete the branch altogether, and then start all over again. Then do it again. I feel like that's the right thing to do. I'm a little nervous to do that. Um, I feel like I need some time to think through this. Branches. I do know right off the bat I want to delete this branch though. Okay, so okay, so okay, so I think I want to delete the GH pages branch. delete it remotely and locally. I just don't know about GitHub, how it's going to do this. Delete the remote branch, git push origin delete gh pages. Okay, so I guess that's a good way to do that. And this will delete the branch out there. I don't know what this is going to do, like to the, like if this is going to end up causing GitHub to get weird. I hope not. I don't. It's this is definitely like anytime I'm doing stuff like this, I think to myself, is this something that QA would have tested? And they probably would not have tested someone watching the first build out and then deleting the whole branch and then pushing the same branch out there. Sometimes stuff like that can get weird. Actually, I guess what I want to do is actually just delete everything in. Now, let's just delete the branch. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Okay, so now the branch is deleted out there. And then I'll delete my local branch, which I'm not on right now, so that's good. And it says, so git branch. Okay, so it doesn't look like I have. That other branch doesn't exist anymore. All right, so now what I need to do is I need to go into my architecture JSON and tell it to build everything to the root and not use that browser's thing. So this is in my angler.json. So, and I'll tell you, deployments are always like this because, like I said, you don't deploy enough to be um, for to get any muscle memory in this kind of thing. So I have two output paths. No, I have one output path. Okay, so I want to change that, and it does say that. Okay, so check your Angular. Deploying to the folder. Okay. npx. Okay, I don't think. Okay, so it's saying actually, okay, so that looks right. Okay, so it's saying that the problem was in my package. All right. Wait, okay. Okay. So now I want to make the changes to deal with not. Okay, so now I want to make changes to deal with the browser folder. So should I modify my local machine, my local config to not generate the dist folder in the browser? or modify the script deploy. Now, I feel like that's what I'm supposed to do, right? It shouldn't go into a folder. Yes, that's the cleanest way to fix it permanently instead of dealing with the browser folder every time. Locate your project's build options. Okay, so let's go back to angular.json. And it's saying that somewhere in here it tells it to go to the browser. Bro, no. Yeah. Okay. Now this is what I have now. So something is weird here. My Angular JSON has now. There's definitely some kind of bizarre miscommunication going on here. But that's what I already had. I already had that. I already had that. But it generates into the browser. It builds into the browser folder. Into the folder. That is because your Angular workspace has multiple projects or targets that you're running ng-build without explicitly specifying. Let's fix that. Your project is called I don't know. Let's talk about okay. ng-build voice h. Okay, so let's look at our package. JSON. Oh, see how we have this browser here, which is weird. Okay, ng-build voice hbase. Okay, so this is my Google. This is the okay. So this build script looks like. Oh, okay, so I have to explicitly, something about here is not explicit. ng-build voice API analyzer. I guess this is the part that makes it explicit. That's so funny because I don't see anything about why that would be more explicit. But let's do that, comma, and let's try running this mf'er again. npm run gbuild, and let's see if that browser. Hopefully, it's gone now. I always knew I didn't really like that browser thing showing up there. I just didn't know why I didn't like it, but I just assumed that there was something. There'd be some negative side effect. I know that Angular is just desperately trying to sort of, or Google is just desperately trying to make it where, okay, so it ran and it's still there. Like, well, maybe not. Maybe, nope. All right, so I'm just going to delete this. I don't know. I don't think there'll be a lot of, it'll be a real pain in the butt to move to recycle bin. Okay, let's run that. And let's see if it shows up in the browser again. I know we do not want this browser to be here though. Okay, it's still, okay. So I ran this. I did run GHBuild, right? Oh wait, is this different? Dist. No, that's the deploy script. The build script I'm doing exactly, I copied their, okay, so build script. And the, it's still, and it still got built into the browser folder. Workspace layout behavior in Angular 14 plus or similar versions. This is a common multi-workspace Angular CLI migrated from older versions. In short, Angular is ignoring the output path because of the way the workspace is structured, not because of the build, how to fix it. Option 1, fix Angular JSON output path. I think that's right. Okay, I think we're already, oh, wait a second. It doesn't look like I saved my package. Maybe that's the problem. That wouldn't surprise me. I do a lot of silly things. It's just so many things to mess up. Okay, let's try this again. I can't tell you how many times I make changes and then I don't hit save and then I run it and I'm like, why didn't it fix it? Yep, it still did. Okay. So, um, so we know we're not going to want that again. Let's just close this up and delete it. And it's saying that this is probably because I did an upgrade and I remember upgrading this. Who knows? That could just be. All right, so fix one, angler.json. Says go and find my output path. Output path. Check the root and source root. They should not root and source root. Control F. Root. They should not be emptied or misaligned. Make sure the output path is exactly dist. Okay, so there's root, source root, and then I guess we want to find root. So source root is source, which I think makes sense. Root. Okay, so root is blank. Gosh, I just can't even be. Like, I can't see why the root. Okay, so root is empty. It's empty. So it didn't tell us specifically what to do as a default workspace. Option, fix it. Oh, okay. Is that right though? Projects voice analyzer? I guess it's projects, yeah. All right, let's try this. And then this is project. Wait. Okay, we already tried this, right? Oh, so it's saying that I could have modified this. Okay, let's try that. Because, there's just no telling what the side effect of that could be. Okay, so it's saying that up here I could do this directory equals dist source browser. Wait. Okay, so right now, okay, so it's putting it in. Oh, I need to run it again. Oh, what a pain in the butt. This is always like this though. Okay, it's still running. Okay, so okay. So I like option one. Option one. But um right now my build builds to dist slash voice dash API slash dash analyzer slash browser. Not dist dash browser. Option one, simplest approach. Okay, yeah, so just add a browser to the end of this. Gosh, I wish they would have browser. I mean, the problem is I don't really know what I'm doing on this stuff. So it's like, um, you know what? I want to name this GH deploy. Okay. So we are on that, and now we can run. Apparently now we can run. PM run GH deploy. And let's just see if it works again, because who knows? The people who built this out probably did not, and QA'd this probably did not QA for someone to have screwed it up first and then deleted everything and then reran it again. So, and it deploys G analyzer browser to G8 page. No more worry about the browser or moving it. If you want, no thank you. Okay, so what we want to see over here, I believe, in our GitHub is a new branch called GH, and we want to see a bunch of code on the root. And that looks like that's right. Looks like that worked. Now, let's see if it, there we go. Easy, oh no, it's not working. All right, so we haven't built, this one was working. Um, yeah, it's very confused right now. Because something is screwy in the yeah, something is going really weird in the um, routing. So we'll probably have to just sort of. I spent way more time on this than I wanted to today. I don't think I have my console logs there anymore. Um, oh wait, what are you? Oh no. So it looks like if I go there and then I click on it, like if I type continuous in here, then I do go to continuous. Now if I click on continuous, it'll work. So we have some sort of little weird um, issue for some reason. And I'm thinking it's probably my parsing side, so it should be pretty easy. You know, the changes that I had already made um, were that. But so the thing is like we're in this really weird state where we have two different code bases. We have a stale deployed code base to here. Do we have that yet? Well, we're not quite there yet. But as soon as I make changes, I'm gonna have to like remember to push those changes to here, make sure that it still works here, and then do the deploy to here and see that that still works. I think whenever we deploy, it will put the new code out there, but I don't know. Yeah. So, anyways, that was a long ass video, way longer than I wanted it to be. Um, an hour and 16 minutes, and we're not quite there yet. Deployments are always a pain in the butt all the time. They always seem like they should be so easy. Once you've figured it out and got it working, it's just so it becomes just a muscle memory sort of pushing the button. But then when you build some new code out and all that, you get that first deployment issue. I had this exact same thing last night when I was trying to deploy out to DreamHost. Just all kinds of strange little, funny little routing bugs and stuff like that. And once you get, and you know, and this one I decided to go online because I think when you go and you're interacting with the FTP um, tool and you're interacting with DreamHost, you sort of leak a lot of information that you probably don't want to leak about passwords and usernames and stuff like that. Think GitHub does a little bit better with assuming that you're going to be doing some of this stuff live on camera. Then, and it's not really not as much DreamHost. It is kind of DreamHost a little bit because you know you log in to DreamHost. I don't, but maybe not. I don't know. But anyways, next week that's what I'm gonna be working on, trying to get this routing working properly. I do think it is just a pure code issue. Um, let me see real quick. See, oh yeah, that's exactly what it is. It is probably Angular. See, I added some code to remove the voice part of this, and I probably need to add some code to remove the thing. Well, probably what I need to do is split on these guys and then take the last value, and then that'll be my route. And that'll probably be the easiest fix for it, but we'll do that next week. Happy coding, everybody. Have a wonderful week. Bye.